Hi everybody, Dennis here, and welcome to Module 3. We're about halfway through the class, so congratulations. Very good work so far. This Module 3 is about special events, and in my experience, special events are something that you have to do if you want a good public relations presence and you want to build relationships with your donors and that sort of thing. But in all honesty, it's really difficult to raise a lot of money with special events if you take into account all of the expenses and the staff time and the volunteer time and all of that. So while it's okay to budget special events or budget for them for the fiscal year, you really can't ever count on a lot of money coming from them unless you've got a tremendous major sponsor that you've had year after year who basically underwrites the entire thing. I've had those before, that's really nice, but most of my experiences with special events have been the kind where I might have some sponsorship that year and I'm kind of happy to break even or make a little bit of money. But in the meantime, I've made a lot of friends and I've introduced my organization to a great many more people. So that's really the importance behind special events. That's my experience anyway. I want to emphasize a little bit here about the different styles of writing that we're doing. You just finished an email solicitation. And in development work, there are different styles of writing. In the email solicitation, as most of you found out, what you really need to do is capture that reader's heart right away with a compelling story or some sort of information that gets them in their seat and even shocks them a little bit. But the main thing that you're trying to do is keep their attention throughout the length of the email. If you grab their heart, usually you're going to be able to open their wallet, and that's what you want with an email solicitation. With a press release, which we're going to talk about at length here in a minute, it's different. This is not a fundraising piece. This is a media piece. So I will elaborate that on a second here. And then finally with grants, that's completely different, and I will talk about that in my next video. I mention this because with special events, what part of your assignment is going to be to elaborate to your board of directors your idea for a special event. I want you to get in as much detail as you can without writing a novel, but you really need to describe what it is that you're thinking, and you need to write professionally and respect the board. No familiar language, no exclamation points, obviously, none of that. Remember who your audience is. You're writing for this board. There is somewhat of a fundraising pyramid that you might hear about throughout your career. At the bottom, which is the least effective, that sometimes you have to do the most of, is the annual fund or the direct mail pieces that you send out, those types of things. And the reason they're the least effective is because they have the least amount of human contact associated with them. Next up on the ladder would be your email solicitation, which you just wrote. Again, it can be effective, it cannot be, depending on the quality of your list, but there's really no human interaction there. So an individual is left to do what he or she wants to do once they get your email. Third up the list is special events. There is human interaction with special events. It is around an event. It's not a specific face-to-face kind of thing. It can be at a special event, but people gather because you're having an event. And it's a really good opportunity to shake hands and meet new people. And that's really the importance of a special event, because what you're trying to do is move these people up your pyramid. So the best way to do that is face-to-face interaction. After special events, we have grants, which are mostly business partnerships. And then finally, we have major gifts and planned gifts. The difference between the two, major gift is an outright donation. A planned gift is when you work with someone to arrange their estate so that their estate is given to you, or stocks or things like that. So as you can see, at the bottom of the pyramid, we have the least amount of human contact, and at the top, we have the most amount of human contact. The most effective fundraising method by far, way over any other method, is face-to-face asking. Will you help us? Will you give us support? Will you give us money? So always remember that's the tip of the pyramid. What we teach in this class are really the middle three. Email solicitations, which we just did, special events, and grants. It's kind of hard to teach major gifts and planned gifts because it's all about sitting in front of people and having a conversation. If you can't do that, you're in a little bit of trouble. So it's really no more than that in relating your mission to someone. So we really kind of stick to these middle three things. So again, we have a couple assignments coming up. In this next week, we have event development, and we want you to give us some detail about the event that you're thinking of doing. Don't just say, I'm gonna do a gala, it's gonna be really cool. That's not gonna work. Okay, I need to know how you're gonna raise money, who you're going to invite, what types of things you're gonna have at the event that will raise money, who, and all of that. Just give me what you can give me. The other thing is the sponsorship levels. This is very important. In your material, unless they've changed it, it says give me 4 sponsorship levels between $50 and $1,000. My personal opinion is that's way out of whack. I would never set my levels like that. So let's make them the first level $250, the second is $500, the third is $750, and the last one is $1,000. So at $250, I want you to tell me what level that is and what my incentives are. If I give you $250, what do I get as your sponsor? So be creative here, be very balanced, but also be reasonable. If you have $1,000 level, you don't want to give me a $5,000 car for giving you at that level. So be reasonable. Donors don't expect a lot with a sponsorship, but they do expect some recognition and maybe something nice. So, but you don't have to break the bank to give them something at that level. Okay, next week after the event assignment are press releases. I'm pretty particular about these. A press release is not a fundraising piece. You're not trying to sell the media. You're not trying to raise money from the media. What I want you to do on your press release is to be a fact robot. You're going to walk around and do nothing but give me the facts, okay? The very first paragraph is the most important. Who, what, when, where, how, all that reporter language goes into your first paragraph. Don't start it off with, there's a great thing coming to this community. You're never going to see that. They're never going to print that, okay? All they want is the facts. And then after that, you want to back your facts up with some facts and figures and a little bit about your information, a blurb about your information at the bottom. Now, saying all that, it's important to know that you can quote somebody. If you want somebody to get wild and crazy on your press release, quote them. That way, you're not saying it because you're the fact robot, and the media's not saying it, but your wacky executive director can say anything she wants. Hey, come on down. We got a great thing going on. We're all going to get crazy and wacky. It's going to be wonderful, said so-and-so. Okay, so you stay the fact robot. Do not use flowery language. Do not use fundraising or sales language in what you write. But if you want that kind of language to come in, quote somebody. Doesn't have to be your executive director. Quote the make-believe mayor or somebody. Remember, this is all a make-believe kind of project, and I'm not going to mark any points off for coming up with some guy that you quoted, because I think that's great. That's what we want. And then also remember the little blurb of information at the end of the press release. So those are the things I look at in a press release, excuse me, that you've constructed it correctly, that you've retained your fact robot status, and that you have got some really good quotes in there that make it interesting. The event development the week before, this week, that kind of speaks for itself. We want some really good creative and balanced sponsorship levels in a good event that you've thought up. Okay, so that takes care of this week and the next 2 weeks in this module. If you have any questions, everybody kind of knows how to get a hold of me by now. Everyone's doing a great job. Please don't hesitate to contact me if you're lost or if you have questions or you need some help with something. Thanks, everybody. See you next time. Take care.